What is going on, everyone? We are here for week one of the GT4 track guide. So we did these guides over a season ago. We had a break for a season and we've decided to bring them back. We will be running these cars a little bit more this season as well. So pretty excited to get a little bit more involved in it. And what better way to start this first track guide than probably one of my favourite tracks on the service. So we're going to Le Mans first. Cannot wait to get around here in the GT4 car and see how it drives. Completely different style of car than I would be used to driving around here, but it should be a lot of fun. So really appreciate you guys watching these guides. Hope that season 4 is a really good season for you and you pick up a few bits and pieces along the way. But let's get into it. We're driving the Merc this week, so let's go. Alright guys, so now we're going to break down the lap. So as you're coming down into turn 1, you want to be as far to the left hand side as possible. I actually take a little bit extra, so I actually start to run the car out and cross over the ripple strip as I'm coming in, until I get to the end of the pit commitment cone, the white line that crosses the track. So just up here. Once I get to this point here, I actually start to turn the car at the corner quite early. So 5th gear as you come through here, you want to get the car a little bit on the curb, but straighten the car up as soon as possible. So as soon as you get to this white mark, just before the total sign on the right hand side, nice big brake pressure. 5th gear, back to 2nd gear, all the way down into the braking zone. Now as you turn the car in, you want to turn the car in. You don't have to be on the curb, but as close to the curb as possible. I'm turning into about this point here, so about 6 to 7 boy squares from the end of the curb on the right hand side. As I turn the car in, I cross across the circuit and I get as close to these little yellow curbs on the inside of the circuit as possible. See how much curb I'm actually using? So what I'm trying to do is set up as much to the left hand side as possible, so then as I come off this curb I can diagonal the car straight across, turn in early, get right to the inside, and then start to pick the throttle up nice and early, because you want to maximize your drive out of this corner. Use all the circuit. As long as you stay on this side of those two little guideposts on the track, you're fine. Use all the track here. Get on the track. Up to 3rd. Stay to the curb and then start to drift diagonally across. Up to 4th. And then as you come through here, as soon as you come off of this part here, you pass this last guidepost, you get the car nice and straight. Then a nice big brake pressure. 4th gear, back to 3rd. It's very hard to spot, obviously, because of the sun. Once you get to this point here with the escape road, you get to the end of the escape road and you start to turn the car in at the corner, because what you want to do is get 3rd gear up on the curb here. It will help rotate the car, and you want to get to the curb and be on the curb by the end of this little bitumen patch here on the grass on the inside. It's where the old circuit used to be, and it's sort of the grass has grown over it. So you want to get nice and close on the curb. It will help rotate the car through the corner. Drop off the curb and then head diagonally across to the inside. Get as close to this curb as possible. I tend to stay off of it. I've had a couple of incidents in the past where you just nick it and the car gets real sort of taily and light on you, and it causes a big mistake. So from the inside of that curb, you sort of track the car out to the edge of the road, sort of in line with the white sign till you get nearly to the end of the road. Use all the escape curb here. Up to 4th gear. Now you want to brake just before these guideposts on the right hand side, so about this point here. Nice big brake pressure. Apply the car in early, so turn the car into the corner very early. You want to clip the curb on the inside, and you want to get as close to them sleeping little yellow policemen on the inside as possible without sort of hitting them. Careful, there is a black flag penalty there of about 1.7 seconds. Same again here as you exit the corner. You want to use all the track possible. Now, the trick here is you can run the car out here, as long as by the time you get to the end of that blue painted part behind the curb, the whole car has to be back on the track. So by this point here, you need to make sure you've got everything back on the circuit. If you do that, you won't get a black flag. You'll be able to carry a lot of speed through there. There is a fine balance to getting it right. It is easier in some cars than other cars. This car tends to favour quite a bit of understeer in high speed stuff, so it is a little bit of a struggle. So, but you can make it happen. So that's just a little tip to the thing. As long as you're on that blue painted part, you're all good. Anything past or around that, and you're in trouble. So stay to the inside here as you come through this little kink down Mulsanne. Start to head towards the left hand side to set yourself up through the gears. 6th gear. Alright, so you're looking for, there's a telegraph pole or a power pole just before the 100-metre board that we're looking for. So as you come down here, so there's your 200, there's your 100 just there, and it's this power pole just here. just to the side here. So nice big brake pressure, and when I say I've stopped just before it so you can see where it was. So you really, when you're actually looking at it from a thing, you're about this point here. So you're probably only about 140 meters from the corner. So big brake pressure. 6 back to third on the entry. Stay as far to the left-hand side as possible. Now, you want to turn in just past this catch fence. So you see the catch fence on the left-hand side. As soon as you get to the end of the catch fence, start to turn the car at the corner, right? So third gear through here. Use quite a lot of curb on the entry. So like this, and then you start to diagonal the car. As the car's diagonaling across, you go third back to second. Get the car to pick up 2 tyres on the curb. Now be very careful. There's not a lot of leeway here. You can use the curb on the inside to help rotate, but it is very easy to get a black flag as well. So make sure that you give yourself enough berth, if that makes sense, so that you're not going to clip it. Same again here on the exit. Get nice and close over the curb. Make sure you focus on the drive out of there, because that's where it's going to count. Up through the gears again. As you're coming down into the next chicane, same again here, just before the 100, but this one's a lot closer. So this one, you're looking at literally like 120. So I'm actually using, if you'll see right here, there's the color change in the arm coat. If I just go back a tiny little bit, you'll see there's like this little bit here is just sort of like a whiter spot that's half the thing. So I braked there, so a little bit earlier than the 100, so probably about 115, 120-ish. Nice big brake pressure again, same as before. Third back to 6 back to third. Turn in. Now this one I turn in a little bit earlier, so I start to turn in just past this power pole, or it's like a big light pole thing. I start to turn the car at the corner early. Same again here, little bit of curb on the entry. Third gear back to second as you diagonal. Little tiny bit of curb here. Focus on your drive out from this point here. Nice exit out of the corner. Use a little tiny bit of curb here. Pick up the throttle and let the car run all the way out to the edge of the road. I stay to the right as I come through this little kink, and then I start to move back towards the left. Sometimes I stay in the crest for a little bit, but most of the time I just head back towards the left as soon as possible. So flat out through the gears again as we're coming down. And then you're looking for, now this one's a pretty tricky corner, but it is fast. So as you come in, you're looking for the start of the catch fence on the right hand side, the start of the curb, right? So as you get to this point here, as you can kind of see, I'm diagonal already. Like I'm aiming for that orange cone near the end of the braking zone, and I'm sort of driving the car in. So 6 gear back to second, and it's a nice big brake pressure. I try not to move the wheel too much. I don't want to pinch a front, lock a front, anything like that. Nice big brake pressure the whole way down into the braking zone. The trick is, but you want to get to the white line as you get to the cone. And then you want to straighten the car up ever so slightly. And then 3 green bollards from the end. So right at this point here. And I'll just change the camera so you can see. So you can sort of see I'm in line with the billboard, the green bollard. That's where I turn the car at the corner. So it's quite a late turn in, because what you want to do is get as close to this green bollards on the inside as possible. Do not hit the green bollard, because it will cost you, I think it's like 2.8 seconds slowdown. Like it's a huge slowdown for even touching the thing. So you need to use all the track, but you need to be careful there, because you can lose a hell of a lot of time. Get over the curb, nice and close to the bollards. Get the car to square up nice and straight and focus on the drive out, so we can head down to Indianapolis. Use all the track. I sort of sit to the right, the left-hand side here, and then as I get closer to the Rolex sign that goes over the track, then I start to drift across to the right. Stay like on this side of the white line as I come down this part. More so when you're in multi-class racing, because then you're predictable. And then I start to drift back towards the left. As I come back towards the left, you're looking for the green patch of grass just right on the track state here. So about this point here, nice brake pressure. 6th gear, back to 5th. Turn the car in. Stay close to the curb. And then once you get to this escape road right here, this is where you need all your braking done. 5th gear, I use 2nd here just to help with rotation and really focus on the drive out of Indianapolis. So nice and close to the edge of the curb. I turn in right at this point here. So as you can see, it's sort of like 3 white dashes from the end of where the red stuff goes straight off towards that little escape road. So from this point here, turn in 2nd gear. I use quite a lot of curb, on the inside to get the car to rotate a little bit. And then as soon as I come off that curb, I want to be picking that throttle up nice and aggressively, letting the car slide all the way out to the edge of the track, under the Audi Sports sign, up to 3rd, up to 4th, and then I'm braking just before the 50 metre. You'll see the position I'm placing the car. So I'm right over the back of this curb between the cone and the curb. Back to 2nd gear. Focus on braking early here to maximise your drive out. As soon as you get to the end of this curb, you need to be turning the car at the corner. Car's going to rotate around and you're going to be able to square it up nice and quick, pick the throttle up, carry all that speed out. Up through the gears again. As you're coming up towards the start of the Porsche curve, so 6th gear as you get to the top of the RPM. You want to go 6 back to 4th on the initial braking, so you want to brake just before this grass patch again. Once you get to that point, back to 4th gear. Turn the car in, stay as tight as through this part as you can. You don't really want to drift off this curb. You want to stay really tight through here till you get to this point here. Then once you get to this point, you set yourself up on the right already, ready to go through the next part of Porsche curves. So you'll pluck 5th gear early because you're carrying the speed up to 5th. I turn in at the start of this concrete patch here on the right hand side. I get nice and close to the curb. I nick the curb. I don't really use too much. I just nick it. Car's going to track all the way out to the edge of the road. Just going to nick this curb again. And then I start to turn in at the end of the Michelin wall on the right there. I get close to this curb here. And then I diagonal the car from the end of the curb across the track. Back to 4th gear on entry. And I want to hold this car nice and tight through here. Really tight. Don't want to accelerate too hard. Don't want to push off this white line. Just follow the white line the whole way through. Keep following it through until you get to this point here. Now, once you get to this point, you see how you're already set up. You turn into the corner really early. Get 2 tyres over this curb so you can maximise through the Corvette curves. The car's going to push really wide with the speed you're carrying. As long as you keep that car like this, you're fine. As soon as you start pushing them left side tyres too close to this curb, you'll get a black flag slow down as well. So make sure you do that. As you come off the curb, set yourself up, doesn't really matter where for this part. Carry all the speed through this little chicane. It's not really a chicane because you're flat through it. You start to head towards the pit lane entry and the final 4 chicanes. So as you come down, 5th gear. Now, I'm a bit unique in the way that I do things. I'm braking at the 2nd dash just before the start of the diamond island in the middle of the track here for the pit lane and the racetrack to sort of divide them. So just about here, 5th gear, back to 3rd gear on entry. As I turn in quite early, so I turn in at about this point here. So there's nothing really to signify. The only thing I can point out is it's just a little bit before this wall to the right hand side here. See how the wall is cut on a diagonal? I'm turning just before that point there. So turn the car in 3rd gear. little tiny bit of curb here, but I'm more focused on a lot of curb through this part here. And as I come off the curb, I want to set myself no further than in line with this second red witch's hat cone in front of me. So, and then from that point there, back to second gear just before the start of this curb on the right hand side. And then as I get to the end of the curb, so now I turn the car at the corner. I use quite a lot of curb here to get the car to bounce over. And then same again here, I use a lot of curb, but I don't touch that red sausage curb. Let the car track out on the exit, use all the circuit right to the edge of the road. And there you go, guys. That is your walkthrough track guide of the GT4 at Le Mans for week 1 of season 4. I hope this helps you guys. Good luck for this week's racing, and we will see you next week for week 2. Thanks, guys.